Hi, I'm Michelle Eunice, and welcome to STL TV, the place where you get to experience St. Louis. Today, I'm so excited because we have Dr. Monica R. Butler, the founder of the Gospel Music Hall of Fame Museum, and we have Diane Lochner, principal at PGAV Destinations, to share a special envisioning of the Holy Corners District in St. Louis. Dr. Butler and Diane, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, thank you.
Of course. Well, Dr. Butler, tell us a little bit about the Gospel Music Hall of Fame and the museum that you're envisioning that brings us here today.
Well, actually, I'm born and raised here in St. Louis, Missouri, so I love my city, I love my state. And my mother sang in gospel choirs all my life. And so just being with her, going around to all the different concerts, I was just that child that held everybody's purses and things of that sort. So back in 1982, they did a documentary film here in St. Louis called Say Amen Somebody, which talked about the history of gospel music with Thomas A. Dorsey, Willie Mae Ford Smith, and Zella Jackson Price. So I was just a kid then, sitting on the front row while my mother was in the choir and watching this documentary film being made. I knew then that St. Louis had something special when it came to gospel music, because all my life I was just in it, okay? So with that being said, I feel as if now that I'm much older, the history needs to be preserved. And it's not. It's not recognized in an area of education, a museum form, or even a Hall of Fame. So it's just time for us to preserve that history and recognize those who have paved the way.
Yes, it sounds like you have your own personal connection, being a kid, and now you're actually doing something about it as an adult to preserve and celebrate the history.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a must. You know, we have the beautiful Jazz Museum in Kansas City. We have the National Blues Museum downtown. We have the Holocaust Museum here, you know, but nobody documents gospel. And I believe that this is the season and the time for it.
Well, speaking of seasons and time, Diane, that's where you come along. How is PGAV Destinations a part of this project?
Well, we met Monica about 3 years ago, and as you can tell, when you meet Monica, you are inspired. So it's kind of hard to get away from her persuasions. But really listening to her vision really got us inspired at PGAV. And we are storytellers, and so we love a good story, and we love connecting people with people. And we also realized that we could help Monica by making this a reality, really thinking about its economic impact in St. Louis, how it can help the community, how it can educate people, and how it can preserve that beautiful Holy Corners district.
Yes, and can you tell people a little bit more about PGAV? It's a St. Louis-based company, so if they don't know, they should know about it.
That's right, that's right. PGAV was founded in St. Louis 60 years ago, actually, this year, and started off as a small architectural firm, and we've grown into a global planning and design firm. So some of our projects around town include the St. Louis Aquarium and the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum, and quite a bit of work with the St. Louis Zoo.
Yes, so people have already seen your work, even if they didn't know that it was you doing it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So what better company to be connected with?
Yes, St. Louis homegrown, you know, St. Louis gospel roots and local company.
Absolutely.
So you shared a little bit about your background. So why a gospel museum now? Why here in St. Louis, and your partnership? What does it mean today?
Well, it's definitely something that's long overdue. You know, and coming back, of course, I moved away from St. Louis to, you know, go into my career as a film producer. But coming back and seeing the schools closed down, these beautiful structures, and when I saw that church that I used to actually attend with gospel concerts there being closed, I'm like, how long has that church been closed? And it was like 2 or 3 decades. And I'm like, this just can't be, you know. So after looking at that structure, and St. Louis has such beautiful architectural structures here, I just felt as if we could rebirth it into something for our gospel. I didn't think about a Hall of Fame or anything at the time. But the more I thought into it, I knew that people were not being recognized as they could, especially those that were right here from St. Louis. So with that being said, it's important to me to connect with people that know what they're doing. I'm a visionary, I'm a creative. I needed someone that could help me get the vision out of me and make it plain so that it can be an experience instead of just a place.
Yes, and you're speaking of Second Baptist Church, correct?
I'm speaking of Second Baptist Church, but I'm also speaking of PGAV, being a part of doing this master plan and making this come to life.
Yes, so can you tell us a little bit more about the master plan? I understand that it's already underway. Can you share a little bit about what that looks like?
Sure. So it is underway. We start with really digging into a lot of research, understanding the stories, understanding Monica's vision, but also looking into things like market attendance or market capture. How many visitors might we get to this Gospel Music Hall of Fame? We look at tourism statistics. We look at some of the conventions that might come in town that might be interested in visiting a place like this. And then we get creative and we really take those ideas and bring them to life. And then after that, we really think about the business planning, think about how much revenue can this place generate for itself and for the community, and think about its economic impact on the community as well.
Yes, and I understand that you have some great plans for the actual museum. What could people expect once they step foot into a completed museum?
Well, a state-of-the-art recording facility. You can't sing gospel unless you record it and things of that sort. And also, it's a beautiful courtyard. And I remember having a tour with the Landmark Association. And while we were touring, a lady went in her pocket and pulled out a picture. And she showed me the picture of her wedding ceremony right there in that courtyard. And I was like, oh, how wonderful would it be to have that be beautiful again and have people still come there and maybe have a wedding ceremony. So just something that's really beneficial for the community while at the same time educating them about the history of gospel music.
Great. And so when can we expect to see the plan or the Gospel Music Museum actually come to fruition? Can you tell us a little bit more about that timeline?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. So we're about a third of the way through our master plan, so we've got a couple more months to work hard on really pulling it all together. And then from there, that really gets us inspired to share that vision and share all of that business planning with potential funders and donors to keep this dream going. And so it's the next step in really seeing the place come to fruition.
Absolutely. And I do not know how to not let the community feel that this doesn't exist right now. And the reason I'm saying that is because the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium gave us Gospel Day at Busch Stadium. So I threw out the first pitch, and I was so excited I made it all the way to the catcher,
wow.
You know. But it was exciting for the community to get involved and understand this vision and say, come on, let's have a fundraiser. So being at Busch Stadium, the Muni, you know, Kofi Coleman, they allow us to have an entire week during the week of the Color Purple and, you know, promote gospel music along with that presentation. And then now we're going to be going to Worldwide Technologies Raceway and have Gospel Day at the Raceway. You know, September is Gospel Music Heritage Month, and during the whole month of September, we'll be in celebration mode while at the same time inducting those that deserve to be into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, it sounds like you already have synergy and energy in the community around this project. If individuals or organizations would like to get involved, where can they learn more about the Gospel Music Hall of Fame?
Absolutely. They can go to mogospel.com. So that could be M-O for Missouri or M-O for just Mo Gospel Music.
Awesome. I love that. Mo Gospel Music. Well, Dr. Butler and Diane, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your vision with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, that's it for us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you check out the Gospel Music Hall of Fame and STL TV, where you can get more shows just like this, all on our social media websites and on YouTube. I'm Michelle Eunice, and we'll see you next time.